Hey guys, hope all is going well. Today I'm gonna go a little more in detail on how to make some roads here. My last video did pretty well, and you guys had a lot of questions, and I've learned a little bit since then. So let's see what we can do. So right here, I've got the Riverbend map, and this has got the roads that we like to kind of copy these settings from. A little bit laggy. My computer is not too happy about all this. Um, yeah, so we've got this road here. As you can see, it's got the lines, and it looks rather nice, right? Now, this dirt here is its own texture, and you can actually import that or export it from this map and import it into you, and then just put it on top. So, not going to worry about that too much here. We want to make a road that looks like this, right? So, how do we do that? Well, let's click on the road itself and see how they have it set up. Like we're in infrastructure. And there's a main road here. Okay. And we can see a bunch of the settings within for that main road. Okay. So see how I cannot click on anything? Now, when you do this, do not save because when you save, it'll mess things up. Of course, you can just verify your game files and fix it. But anywho, right click the infrastructure. See how it's got this arrow lock box stuff. Right click it and click unlink reference file. And that will make it part of the map. And now if we click off of the road and back on it, we can now actually see what all settings they are using here. Now, something to keep in mind here is some of our settings here. Our visibility is on. Clip distance is only 1,000. Uh, receive shadow map, distance blending, terrain decal, tangents. And that's pretty much it, right? So always kind of poke through and see how Giants did things, because if you do it the way they do it, there's a good chance it'll pass, right? All right, so if you don't have the material editing window showing by default, slider here. If this is not showing by default, it should show here. You go to Window, Material Editing, click that, and it'll show up over here. Okay, and basically what this is it's the material for the road, which includes all the textures and signs, the, your gloss map, your normal map, your albedo or diffuse, whatever you want to call it, and then your shader stuff. Notice how we've got a few things in here that are a little bit different for the shaders. So we've got our asphalt, stuff like that. The stuff that's checked, that stuff matters down here. Um, and if we click here, there's actually two. So we got road signs, which is our lines. The road signs are the lines, and then the main road is the actual main highway or the main road surface. Okay, so they've got two materials within this one uh, object. I guess is what we'll call it. Okay, so now that we know a little bit more about how all that is set up in E on the giant side, now we can know a little bit more about how we're going to make it. And you can kind of look at how they've got their lanes set up and just the different details in that as well. Ours probably won't look quite like this does, but that's fine. Um, let's see. If we open the snow, I wonder what it looks like. So if we go to map, seasons, and then seasons visual control, we can actually turn the snow on. Not showing on the road. This one? Why the road's not showing? Interesting. Did they not have their roads set up for that? Or am I? Oh, I'm using the wrong. Nope, that's wetness. Hmm. I'll be. Okay. I thought they had snow on their roads. Maybe something I'm doing wrong. I don't know. Anyway, so oh, here we go. It just wasn't loading right. I guess my computer's just not happy with what's going on here. But anyway, so this is what their roads look like for snow. It's trying to load it. You'll have to forgive it. My computer. Come on, cricket. My computer is not the greatest computer, so that might be the main reason why the rows ain't are not showing properly here because there is a lot being rendered right now. Anyway, you can see they've got an area cleared where the vehicles drive. Well, me personally, I think this is kind of backwards. There should be snow on the lines because we don't really drive on the lines, and then snow down the center, and then not very much snow where the wheels go, right? The wheels should be clearing the snow. I think that's how that actually works, right? That's kind of what I want to recreate. Yeah. Okay, now that we've spent like 20 minutes talking about how Giants does things, let's get started in how we want to do things. Okay. Now I'm going to leave this open because I want to be able to come back here and reference anything we might need out of here. Okay, so like where the location of the different textures are, because I think, which one am I in? The road signs? I think that these might be in a different folder. These structure, uh, blending, blending textures. So these two are in a different folder than these two, but it's within the folder that these are in, just under blend. Got it. Okay, so we'll probably have to reference that because I have a terrible memory. So I'm just going to put that on my other screen just so it's out of my way for now. Because I basically just want to be able to reference that as I need it. Now I've already got my blank map open here, and I've been kind of playing with a road here, as you can see, um, and I'm still kind of learning. I don't know everything, so if I skip stuff or go too fast or whatever, I do apologize. Uh, I'm sure I'll actually learn some stuff as I'm doing this tutorial because that's just how it goes sometimes. But pretty much what this is I created the road with the lines and all that, and at the same time I was also playing with the new procedural placement tool that's built into GE that not very many people talk about. There's a there's a series of tutorials out there um, that are really good by sorry for butchering your name. It's Grunt Mount Grunt Mount. Or I'm butchering that. I do apologize, but anyway, he's got some very good tutorials on the procedural um, tool. So if you just search the procedural placement Giants editor, you will find him. He's got some very useful stuff. Super smart guy. He figured out how to actually use that system and create scripts for it. He's also doing a bunch of scripts for um, GE in general, and just really smart dude. Um, yeah. Anyway, back to the roads. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and create a spline. So we'll go to create spline. Okay, and then we've got our spline. We'll do Control B as in boy, and we'll put our spline right here. And then I'll use my arrow key to go to either the start or the end. Okay, let's go to the end here, and we can move it if we'd like. Another cool thing we can do, we want, I think this is up and down. If we do Control B as in boy again, and we click and hold, we can move around, right? Now, if I hit insert right here, it'll place it. So I'm still holding the mouse, okay? And I'm hitting insert as I'm moving around. So if you've got an area where you need to kind of draw a road, so to speak, and you can do it multiple times, just don't do them too close together because otherwise it may create like an overlap of sorts. But yeah, so that's an easier, quicker way to create roads on the fly. And voila. So we've got a nice little spline there. You can also do the way I showed in the other video, whatever works best for you. Um, yeah, just whatever works best. Okay, now that we've got our spline, we're going to export it. We're going to do scripts, and then my script is the spline to object. Okay, and then we'll just run the script, and we'll save this as number 8. Or why I clicked on that. Now this says open, but in this case, it actually means save. Excuse me. This actually means save, so we'll save it. And okay, so we're done in GE for a minute. I like to save. Always save. Save, 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 save. Before you do anything major, save. Because it sucks when you spend 30 minutes to an hour working on it and you just haven't saved in a while. And oh, crap, GE just crashed. And you lost all that. So save it often. Save it often. Because GE does like to crash, unfortunately. But, you know, it's like any software. Stuff happens. Okay, anyway, let's open up Blender. Look at this. We're going to start fresh with Blender. Okay, once we got our Blender open here, now I am using Blender 4.0.2, and the newer versions of Blender may not work well with the Giants, the community exporter that I use, that I'm going to use in this tutorial. I will link to their Discord, or not Discord, sorry, GitHub in the description below, so that way you guys can get the community exporter. And there are a couple little things that may not be in their current version that I added in my own custom version. I don't want to share mine because it's not exactly reliable. And I'm hoping that they push out an update soon that'll have a lot of stuff in it. But anyway, so community exporter is the way to go, in my opinion, because it's just easier to work with and you save stuff and you don't have to reload it anyway. All right, so what I did there is I hit A to select all, hit delete, it removed everything. So I'm starting with a clean slate. Let's go ahead and delete this collection too. So all we have in here is our scene collection, and that's it. We'll go ahead and look down from the top, and then we'll do a file import, wavefront, and where did I save that? Saved it in my test folder. And then we'll import that, and voila, there it is. Now, if you don't see your road because it's way off to wherever, because it's going to put it in Blender where it is on your map, and you don't want to move it, because if you move it anywhere, then when you put it back into GE, it will be moved. So wherever if you don't want it moved from where you had it in GE, don't move it in Blender. Make sense? I hope so. Anyway, I can hit period and it'll focus on my spline. Okay, and then we'll check the spline. If we go into edit mode, which I hit tab, and that had a lot of pretty points, so we're good there. Hit tab to go back into object mode. If you notice up here, it does change from object to edit mode. You see that? Edit mode, object mode. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and convert this to a curve. Okay. And then now that we've got our curve, what do we need to do? We need to create a plane for our road. So we'll do object, add mesh plane. And that creates one down here. We'll hit the period on our numpad. And then let's go ahead and resize it. So if we press N as in no, we have our transform information here. So make sure this is selected. Then you should see 2 meter by 2 meter. And we want to change this. And you can kind of make it what you like. If you want the roads a little wider or whatever, you can adjust it accordingly. So I'm going to do mine 18 by 9. And that seems to work pretty well for me. That's enough room for 2 semi trucks on the road. Okay. And there's our main road. Now, since we're here, uh, we did see that the clip distance could be a little lower. So if I remember right, they had it 1,000, 1,000. So let's go ahead and do that now so that we don't have to worry about it later. Uh, what else do we need to set over here? We need we need to go ahead and set up a new material. So we'll create our material. We'll call this main road road underscore mat. Don't have to name it this way, but it looks cleaner, I think. Right? Uh, don't need any of that. We've got our shader source, and this one will be in the data shaders. Notice it's in my program files, Farming Simulator 2025 data. So the install directory, and then data, and then shaders. Pretty much anything that we're gonna pull from base game into any mods we edit or make or whatever will be in that data folder. And then we want Vertex paint shader right there. Accept. And now we've got our Vertex paint shader here, and we've got a variation. In this case, we wanted a really long one, the alpha map, parallax alpha map. And where I'm getting that from is if I come back to here, this says River Bend, and right here, here's the location of the shader, Vertex paint shader, and then this is the selected variation. And then we've got a couple files that we need to set down here as well. But first, let's go ahead and bring in our main texture files, which would be these up here. So our albedo, gloss, normal map. That way we can see something in here, right? Now, there's a few different ways to do this. You can bring this up and you can change this to shader editor, and you can do it here. You can go to shading and you can do it here. Whatever works best for you. I always just do it in this view here because I don't like going to a bunch of different windows. All right. All right. So I've got my infrastructure folder here, which is where these files are located. If you hover over here, come on, show up. Data, maps, map US, textures, buildings, infrastructure, main road, blah, blah, blah. Right. So I'm in that folder. Here's our main road here. Now you can only drag these in one at a time. So I'm going to drag it in, drop it. Okay. And then we need the normal. And then we need the spec. Now you can put these in any order you like, but I like to do it kind of in the order that it shows in E. So if you bring this down, you've got your views, your spec, and then your normal. So that's why I do it in that order. Okay. I'll bring this up so zoom in and see a little better. Spec and then normal. And our normal needs to be non-color. And then we need to add our separate color for the spec map. And then add normal map. And then we connect the normal to the normal and the diffuse to the base color. And then the spec to spec. Now this, we have to change it to gloss map. If this little side piece is not showing up, it is N is in no to get that to show up. Or you can see this little arrow here. That'll bring it out. Okay, set this to gloss. map. And basically what it is the shader is looking for this item that's called gloss map in the game. So if this isn't named gloss map, it'll skip the spec altogether. And it won't look quite as detailed as it should. Okay. Uh Make sure that the emission is turned off because it's annoying when it's not. If this is set to 1, it'll output an emissive map, which is would go here, and then test runner will whine about it. It'd probably pull your hair out trying to figure out why it's doing that. But yeah. Okay, so we've got our shader or our textures in here. What do they look like? Well, there we go. Now, notice we've got 2 different textures here. This is technically 2 different road styles, and we want the darker one up here, and that's it. So to do that, we can either go into the UV editing window here, or we can just stay in our layout and change this to UV editor. And then we'll go into edit mode, which is tab. Make sure this is selected up here. Tab. Okay. Zoom out a little bit here. We'll hit A to select all, and then we're going to scale it. So S is in scale, and we want the Y axis. So notice how got the Y axis there. Okay, and then we'll do 0.5, period 5. Okay, and that'll do it half the size. And then all we have to do is turn our snap on because that'll make things easier. And there's a little thing over here with buttons, and if you press what is it? T is in Tom, or tools. T is in tools. That makes more sense, right? And then there's a move button here, and then we can just move this on up. And the reason I use that snap is so that it's perfectly aligned at the top of that texture. Because if you don't, then it might be a little bit off. And let's turn this off. If it's a little bit off, it's going to show the other texture in there. You see that little overlap up here? We don't want that. We want this as perfect as possible. So that way we've got a nice even cutoff on each side. Okay. And that's using the snap and increment. Just moving it up to the top here. Okay. Let me drink some coffee real quick. Okay. So now we have our road and it looks very nice. I can go ahead and move this down. I'm done with that window for now. Tab to go back to object mode. And let me remember here. We can go ahead and go into the Vertex paint mode. And then we'll click the viewport shading. And then we want to change this to black. Oh boy. Here we go again. What am I doing wrong? Sometimes this works perfect for me, sometimes. Anyway, we'll come back to that because I'm skipping something, I'm sure. Oh, you know what? Hang on. This upside down? No, we're right side up. Okay. Edit mode? Do I need to be in edit mode? No, that doesn't make. Hmm. Yeah, I thought I had that figured out. Well, let's go ahead and put it on the spline and see if we can figure it out there. Okay, so we'll zoom out a little bit here. We can see the spline. Go ahead and click on the spline. Period key. Oh, got to click back on the plane. Duh. And go to modifiers. Okay. And then we'll add modifier. And then you can do a search and then we want to find array, and then we want to add another modifier, and it'll be curve. So we want array and curve. Okay, so our array, which if we scroll down here, you can see as we move or adjust the array, it moves or adjusts the length of it. Okay. And then this one right here, we can actually select the curve this way, or we could just select it in here. And I think you can do fit curve, and then you can select that line. Oh, but sometimes it likes to just kind of go off into the abyss. I wonder because that was set high. Set that back to fit curve. Nope. Okay, so I'm not sure why it keeps going out there. It might be my spline type or the curve type. Not 100% sure on that, but I'm going to go to fix count and we'll just run with that. Okay. And we can go back in and adjust as needed. Now, it looks blocky as all get out because there's not really much detail to the um, the road piece, I guess. So let's go back into our edit mode here and we'll hit period so that we can see that. And we're going to want to split this up. Okay. Um, Actually, we're going to do a little bit of a twist here. We're going to go ahead and bring in our road lines so that way we have somewhere to align where our snow and stuff is going to go, right? All right, so let's get out of this edit mode here. Go ahead and I'm going to click on the plane, go to modifiers, and I'm going to turn that off for now. So that way I can see where my road lines are going. Okay. We'll do, we'll add a new plane. And then this one, we will need a new uh, material for. So we'll create a new, and we'll call this one, uh, what did they call them? Road signs. We'll go ahead and just copy how they did it in Riverbend. So we'll call this one road signs for Matt. Okay. And the shader source for that is the same. So we want to go to data, shaders, Vertex paint. Add it. And then variation is the same, which is the small one with the alpha map. And need our road signs texture, so we'll want to change over to our shader editor. Find there they are. We got a diffuse, got a normal, and we got a spec. And these were in the same folder as the other road textures. And if you just Riverbend, if you just hover over, see the location there. Okay, so basically we're going to do like we did with the road textures here and do that same process. Separate color, connect. Oh, nope. Connect. Color to base color, color to color, color, color. Whoa. Oh, snap to the right place, please. Normal to normal. Uh, non-color on this one. Zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what's actually going on here. This one needs to be lost map. I don't know if you have to do both of them. I think you just have to do the name, but I go ahead and do both just to be safe. And that should be good for our shader there. Now we want to set this plane to the width of the road. So we'll go ahead and set this one. Nope. That one needs to be probably 0.1, maybe. Kind of play with it. It depends on how skinny you want the lines. And then this one, you want this to be 18, which is the length of this here road. Okay. And then if we change this over to our UV editor, we can see this is the normal. So if we click this little picture up here, we can change which one we're looking at. Now, make sure you click on the one that's for that item, because if you click on one of the other ones, it kind of throw you off. But we want the diffuse. Okay. Now, if you kind of zoom in, you can see where it's kind of clear and then where it's blurry, right? So where it's blurry, it will not put, with the shader, the blurry will not be painted onto the road, where this non-blurry will be painted onto the road. So if you want the dotted lines, you would want your UV over where the dashes are, or whatever you want to call it. If you want a solid line, then put it over the solid line. Okay. So we are in the center here. We'll go ahead and, are we in edit mode? No, we're in object mode. With that selected, we'll hit tab to go into edit mode. And down here in the shader editor, I'm sorry, UV editor, we'll hit A to select all, and then we'll scale it. And then we'll do a Y. And need to make it kind of skinny. The center line is yellow. In this case, I'm going to turn the snap off. And then you kind of want to, let's see, we want the dashed lines. So this one's a little more tricky because you got to really look in, and you want it as even as possible on each side. Now, technically, if we wanted to, we could go a little bit, let's see, what is it, Y? We could go a little bit bigger and be okay. You just don't want to go too big that it's going into the other ones. And you want to try to find that even spot where you got an even amount of blurriness on each side of the line, right? So you got a little blurry here and a little blurry here. Okay. Now in here, it's just going to show as a yellow line, and it looks so-so. Okay. Now, once we get into GE, it'll look a whole lot different because the shader really does a number there. I almost think that this needs to be a little bit wider. So we'll come back into object mode. We'll scale. Needs to be scaled Y. We'll go right about there. Kind of eyeballing it. I think that's about. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and just duplicate this one. And then we'll just move it down to near the edge here. Now, you don't want to go right on the edge, because in game, right at this edge is where the shader kind of cuts it off. So if we look at the Giant's Way here, see how this kind of staggered and cut out? So see how much space they have for their line here? We kind of want to duplicate what they did here. We want a little bit of a gap there. If we get too close to the edge, then it'll end up cutting some of that line off. So we'll go just a little bit more. Okay, right there should be good. And then we'll go into edit mode and we need to move this down to the white. And I want the solid white, not the dotted white or dashed white. So notice how it's blurry here, but it's not blurry here. That would be where our solid white line is. And then we just want to kind of center it the best we can in there. We zoom way in, you can kind of see where the center should be. I feel like the center's like right in there, right? And then that's our white line. Now let's come back up here. Oop, click that shift. Okay, so let's duplicate. Oh, come out of edit mode, tab, and we'll shift D to duplicate, and we'll move that line up here. And want it kind of in that same spot. Now, actually, now that I'm looking at it, if you line it up with the center of this line, that's just about perfect. Okay. So if we go right about there. So let's go ahead and do the same for this one. Because it's a little bit lower. About there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah. Okay, so now we've got our lines. Yeah. Um I'm gonna go ahead and take these modifiers off, and we're gonna see if we can um, make this one object with two separate uh, whatchamacallits. Now this may not work. I haven't done it like this yet, so this is gonna be. I'm gonna go ahead and save it before I get too far. Surprised I went this far without saving. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all of our planes, and I'm gonna right click and join. And we still have lines, so perfect. Now, once you do this, you can't really adjust your lines anymore because they're stuck where they are. Now, I like to wait to do this because I want to be able to go in and easily remove parts of the line from places. So uh, it might be best to wait to join them until after everything's finalized. It's really up to you guys, however you want to do it. But yeah, so that makes it one object. Call this main road. And the spline name doesn't really matter because we're not going to really do that. Okay, so now we got our main road, so to speak. Let's see. I don't know what to do anymore. Okay, so we've got two separate materials in here now, road signs and main road. And we need to go ahead and put that back to the, what do you call it? The spline? Actually, hang on. Whoa, getting ahead of myself. Let's go ahead and work on the shader stuff. Okay. Now we've got our center line, we've got our line lines. Now I want to do a line down the center here for where that's snow. I want to row snow here. I want snow on this line. I want snow in the center of the lane. I want snow in the center of the road, center of this lane, and then the center of this line. Okay. So we're going to go to loop cut down here. And if you hover over, you see how it pops up that yellow? I'm going to go ahead and do this way first. So if I just come here, don't go in here. See how it does the full line there? See the full yellow line there? You want to go where it's the full yellow line, click. Now don't drag. In this case, don't drag, because if you click and drag, it's gonna throw it off a little bit. And we'll just put a few in here. And what this will do is it'll give us a little more detail on like the curves and such so that it's not so blocky. Okay. Uh, I want this one to go in the center of the lane here, but it looks like it's not going to cooperate with me. So let's try it in dead center and see what that does. Oh, undo. Uh, so let's try just dragging it up. And think, you know what? Undo. Control Z. Let's try turning our snap on and put it to edge center. I think that's how I did it. So we'll click in here. Nope. Okay, that wasn't it. What did I do? Hmm. I don't remember how I did that. I could have sworn it was edge center. Oh well. It might be throwing me off because I've got the lines in here. Very likely. Because usually it'll just go to where I want it to go. But anyway, we'll click and just drag it to what we think is center-ish. Let's see, center would probably be right about there. And then we'll do the same down here. And we'll go right up. Okay. So that kind of creates our center lane there for the painting and same might actually, well, let's see what that does. Uh Save it. Always save it. And we'll come out of the edit mode into object mode. We'll go ahead and click Vertex Paint. Okay. And then we should be able to see. Ha! There it is. There's our Vertex Paint. Okay. So first thing we want to do is just paint it all black. Uh, so what the black and the white. So white is kind of like a see-through, I guess, opaque. And black is not opaque, something like that. So we want these to really show. Because if you wherever you paint white, it will kind of seep through, so to speak. So like your intersections and stuff where your roads connect up, that would be where you want to do white. Okay. Now we want to change this to blue. So if we go to RGB and then set our blue to 1, that way we're at bright blue. And then we'll set our radius down a good bit because we don't want it too big here. And we want to get right on this line. Kind of don't like how it's sticking to only the road line. I don't want it to do on the, what do you call it? On the road too, not just the lines. And then we want to go down the center here. Whoa, why is that so big? Oh, you know what? I see what's going on. So it's kind of separated our road lines from the road as far as vertex paint goes. Okay, so let's change this back to black. Paint this back to black here. Okay, and then we'll go back to edit mode, and we're going to do some more loop cuts here. So we want one in the center. See how that's dead center down the center line there? Jumping around a little bit. Then we'll put one down here, dead center of this line, and then one up here, dead center of that line. There we go. You know what? We're going to have to do loop cuts for the lines, I bet. Let's see what it looks like. So if we go here, get out of edit mode, we'll go ahead and do our modifiers. Sorry for the long video, but we're going to get through this together and we're going to have a beautiful road, right? Search again, curve, this to curve, set it to the length. Ah, yeah, see, look at that. Our lines look terrible. So I've got to figure out how to loop cut those lines. Hmm, good stuff. Stop that. Set this back to 1. Throw me off if I don't. Um, be nice if there's a way I could select just the lines. There's not. Oh, okay. Here we go. This is gonna be annoying. Click, click. So you gotta get right on that line. See it showing up on that line there? That's annoying. But it'll be worth it, right? But yeah, if you look closely, you can see it. One's not wanting to do it. Oh, it's in the center. That's why. Yeah. Uh, oh, center. Always start from the center. There. There. Okay. Now let's go look to see how it shows on our line. Where's it at? Up here. And how do we look in the curves here? Look how much better that is. Now you could make it a little more detailed by adding more loop cuts in there, but the more you add, the more vertices the road has, and the vertices the road has, the more cause lag future. So you don't want to do too much, and you don't want to do too little. So something to keep in mind, right? All right, so let's go ahead and that back to 1 in. Then we'll go back to Vertex Paint. Need to select the shading one. We've got our lines done, so now we just go back to blue, set this to blue, and paint on the line here. That still feels a little much, right? I want to paint in the middle here. So I think I need to loop cut it one more time. Undo, undo. Okay. That. Back to the edit mode. I'm going to drop in a loop here, cut here, cut here, and a loop cut here. It's going to be quite the detailed route. Save it. Go back over to our Vertex paint. So this should, there it goes. Now, the places that you want to kind of keep an eye on is the edge here, this edge and this edge. So that way when it's doing its duplicate thing. So what I mean by that, not spline. I don't want that. Okay, see here as it goes on to the next one, uh, we don't want sharp edge here. So if we don't paint this side the same as this side, see that sharp edge there? We'll have that. So then we got to match that up like that. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're doing this. Here, have it. kind of sporadic. Center, we want good and dark. Well, dark, kind of sporadic, and then good and dark. And that should create a, go ahead and make that, why not? That should create a pretty good looking road. Okay. You don't have to go like overboard or anything crazy. You can kind of play with it. So this blue is the snow. So when the snow shader's enabled, that's the blue. And then the black would be uh how the opacity value. So white would be kind of see-through and black is not see-through at all. Okay. And save it. Go back to object mode. Change it to where we can view the road. Go ahead and put this on the spline. Let's set it for the length of the spline. Okay, save it. All right, shaders. We need to finish our shaders here. So if we come back in here to our stuff here. Now let's do, what are we on here? We're on the road. So here we go. Looking at it here, we need our main road new diffuse, main road new normal for the blends, and then we need our alpha map and our height map. Go ahead and do that here. So blended, this one, they want, don't have it selected here. So we got to go to data. Um, data, maps, map US, textures, building, infrastructure, blending texture. First one will be main road new use. Second one, main road new normal. Oh, go to recents here and find where you were at. Main road new normal. Okay. And then we also want to do the alpha map. This one would be main road alpha. Go back to blending textures. We go up one folder, main road alpha. And it's showing me have, oh, M parallax map. One will be the height. Structure, main road height. Okay. Now, these two were backwards compared to GE, so kind of keep in mind the names, or keep kind of watch for the names that are listed here. The alpha map was backwards. That in mind. Yeah, looks like everything else is the same. All right, so let's click on our other texture or material here, and then do the same in GE. So in GE, I just clicked on this, went to the road signs material, and then I'm going to match up these textures here. Like this one is in the map textures terrain. Same with that one. And then this one will be in our infrastructure. Okay. So we just need 3 on this one. Okay. So alpha, or I'm sorry, asphalt 01 diffuse is diffuse. We need to come up textures, rain, asphalt 01 diffuse. And then we want the normal, alpha O1 normal. And for the alpha map, this one here, we want to go back to infrastructure, and it'd be road signs alpha. So yeah, it's a little bit tedious to do that part, but it's worth it in the long run. Okay. So we should be, I think we're, oh, we need to make sure that our our attributes here are set. So if we look on here, go to shape, bring this down. Now there is no rigid body. No rigid body on these because they're terrain decals. We no longer do that. So if we go to shape, we see our settings here. We need receive shadow map, distance blending, terrain decal, and tangents. Now you will have to check the terrain decal in GE when you do this because the latest version does not have it yet. I've got it in mind, but it doesn't perfectly work. So like I said, a lot of stuff with the version I have does not perfectly work, so I don't want to release it. But the one on their GitHub does not have it, so all you got to do is just make sure you check it in GE. Okay, so we need Steve Shadow Map. We're not casting because what are we going to cast to, right? And then distance blending, and then terrain decal. Tangents, I believe, is through. Uh, yeah, so should be good there. Let's go ahead and save that and see what happens. So with the main road selected, we don't have to apply our modifiers, thankfully. So that way we can edit it and all that stuff in the future. We can actually just go ahead and export it like that. We go to export i3D, have it to selected objects here, and kind of have everything default. I don't really change anything over here. Oh, before I get too far, before you do that, click on your spline. Go to Object, Apply, All Transform. And what this does is it makes sure that your road's not going to be too wonky. And then if you have an issue where your road kind of gets off course in time, because I did a train track that was super long, and at the beginning of it was perfect, but by the end of it, it was slightly tilted. Um, if you go to, see if I can remember where it was. I want to say it was line. Yeah. So if it's got a bit of a twist to it, do Z up in the twist method for your curve data. Line data, curve data. Yeah. Z up for the twist method. And that'll straighten it out. Unless you want that twist. Okay. Uh so we applied that, did that. Okay, main road. Let's go ahead and save it again and export 3D. And then we'll do road test ID, which is test folder there. And success. Now I gotta find it. And oh, you know what? We'll just I've got GE. Just import it. Should be in the right folder. Did it work? Come on, baby. Look at that. Look at that. Got a road. Um get rid of the grass. Get rid of the grass. We just need to make sure that we're in the same and gonna get rid where the road is. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm not too worried about it right now. Just kind of showing you guys how this is done. And look at that. Now, I think maybe the on there. I think maybe since the road lines were on right on top of it, it's creating that little flicker, maybe. So maybe we want to bump it up just a hair. Wonder if we can do that. Um, yeah, get rid of our spline. Yeah, that's got to be what that is. So let's see. Can I do anything about that? Mm, nope, nope. Get out of loop cut. Want select. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong here. Need no. Right. Okay. So that's that line selected. Okay. So what I'm doing here, which before you join these, you'll want to bump it up a little bit. But if you followed this along as I went, then you'll have to come back in here. So what I'm doing is with the select box selected, I'm holding shift, my left shift, and then I'm just highlighting so it's adding more, right? Here to the other line, left shift, left shift. And I don't want that center because that center is part of the road part. And then I just want to move this up just hair, just a hair, not very much. Okay. And then uh, save that, export it, see what that does. Okay. We come back in here. We'll remove this file. Now we can do is import as a reference, and then you can easily reload it if you want to. But if you do that, then you'll have to have the i3D in map folder doing it that way. So don't import it as reference unless you have the file in map folder. Hopefully that made sense. And it looks like that fixed it. So that's all it was. Nice. Don't know what this little edge stuff is doing here. Okay, so I figured it out why the road looks funky like that. Okay, so all it is if we go into Blender here and then click on our main road and set that center so we can see what we're working on. So that doesn't really matter in here. Anyway, so we're looking for the rendered in viewports. Want to uncheck that. Okay, and then save it. Oop, save it. And then export 3D, road test, export. Go back into GE. Now we can just click on a road and go to shape and then uncheck rendered in viewports. Notice that flickering is gone. Okay. Or we can just import our newly exported road. And voila. So yeah, you can kind of play with it and do how you like. And I don't know. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's how you can easily make some very detailed roads, right? And then if you want to do intersections on it, you can go back into Blender here. And once you've got, now I would save your intersections for last and just kind of have your roads kind of come together. And then once you got all your roads where you want them, then come in and apply your modifiers, right? Apply your array first and then your curve. And and then you can go in and remove part of the white line or whatever is needed to be able to uh, show that intersection. Because if you go up to the intersection, the white line is not there for the spot. Prime example here. See if I can find one. Oh goodness. This is road head. Of course not. Okay, see how the white line stops here, and it starts again over here. Be better on that side. So kind of want to keep that in mind. Oh, let's see how our roads look with the snow. I forgot about that. Trips, shared map, seasons, seasons visual, and we want. Oh, so that's what our roads look like with the snow. Sure, why it does that blurriness. It might be the way that we did the lines with it. I'll have to play with it to see. I have also, loaded up in game, see what it looks like there. But see how the snow is kind of like people are driving on it? That's kind of how I like it. And you could probably do a little less in the center too, maybe. I don't know. Something to play with. I'm sure there's a setting somewhere that you can play with to get this down. I haven't really messed with it enough, but hopefully this tutorial kind of gets you guys going in a little more detailed fashion to be able to, really bring some beautiful roads to your map and give it that little extra detail that helps it stand out from the others. But yeah, so if we click on the road, now we should see a lot of the settings that we saw with the Giants roads, the two separate materials here, and so on and so forth. Yeah. What do you think? Was this tutorial useful, or were you completely lost, or do you want to see more? Also, if you got any pointers, drop those in the comments as well. If there's anything you figured out that I didn't figure out, or whatever, let us know. Hey, and appreciate you watching. Appreciate you taking the time. Sorry for the long video, but hopefully you learned something. Have a good day.